First off, my nigga Mo, I am the coldest. I'm not the middle child, I am the oldest. Weight of the world, carry that on my shoulders. I'm David Ruff and these niggas is oldest. These bitches be champion, these niggas be bold. I ain't naming their chassis, I'm aiming.
Sup? Dope. What's good, gang?
What it do, baby?
If y'all enjoy the holiday season, let me know in the comment section. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. If you was born around this time, let me know, cause I love this season. I genuinely love this season. Let's get into the video. Ooh.
Welcome back to Beauty and the Beasts, where we delve into real-life spooky stories while we unwind and have some late-night skincare sessions together.
Skincare?
You know, we don't really think about curses in real life, right? They're the stuff of movies, legends, old stories told around a fire. Because in today's world, it's easy to believe that science has explained everything. That if something goes wrong, there is a reason. But what if there wasn't? What if an entire village started losing its children one by one? And no one could explain why. Tonight's story is about a peaceful village, a series of strange and tragic deaths, and a girl who may have uncovered something she was never meant to find. So light a candle, grab your blanket, and let's get started.
I'm gonna wear my hoodie and dug it. What you talking about?
So have you ever watched Final Destination? Actually, that was one of my favorite horror movies.
Like her accent.
That franchise where people just narrowly escape death, only to find out they didn't really escape at all.
Type shit.
One by one, death comes back for them in the weirdest, most terrifying ways.
Yeah.
And those movies stuck with people for a reason. They make you wonder, if death had a plan, could you ever really get away? And it's fiction, of course, but every now and then you hear a story that makes you question just how fictional it really is. Now, I wouldn't be sharing this if it weren't real. This story was sent to me by one of my subscribers.
True story.
And she asked me not to reveal her name, so we will just call her Anne. Anne grew up in a quiet little village near the border of Bangladesh in West Bengal. This was back in 2016 when she was around 9 years old. And like most kids that age, she wasn't paying much attention to the world around her.
Right.
You know, life was simple. School, playtime, the occasional scolding from parents. And the village itself was peaceful, surrounded by fields and forests, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone. But you know how it is with places like that. Sometimes the darkest things are hidden beneath the quietest surfaces. Every year, the village would hold Durga Puja, one of the biggest and most sacred festivals around there. It's the celebration of goddess Durga defeating the buffalo demon, Mahishasura. And on the final day, Visarjan, they say the goddess returns to her celestial home. In 2016, that final day was supposed to be like every other year. Music, prayers, food, family. But what actually happened, no one could have predicted. Because that was the day that everything changed. That was the day the village just stopped feeling safe. And it started with a single horrifying incident that tore right through the middle of the celebration. Something so out of place, so wrong that even the elders, the ones who lived there their whole lives, couldn't explain it.
What was it?
The day was meant to be full of joy. You could see it in the way people moved, humming to themselves, walking with purpose, you know, carrying trays of flowers, sweets, and clay idols down the narrow dirt paths. Homes were lit with small lamps, and the scent of incense drifted through the air. Anne, being just 9 years old, didn't quite understand the deeper meaning of the festival. But she felt it. The energy, the excitement, the way her mother's hands moved a little faster, how her neighbors smiled a little wider. She was helping too, mostly by running errands and handing things over. Still, she felt part of it. And then came the scream. It was sharp, panicked. Someone from far off, but loud enough to stop the drums, loud enough to make everyone freeze. Anne remembers standing still, watching her mother drop a garland and rush outside. People began murmuring, then running. "There's been an accident," someone said. She didn't know what that meant. Not really, because she was so young at the time. But she understood one thing clearly. Everyone's face had changed. The smiles were gone. The accident happened just a few minutes' walk from Anne's home. 2 teenage boys had been on their way to deliver something. Decorations, maybe. No one knows for sure. A truck had come out of nowhere. Witnesses said it didn't even slow down. One of the boys was thrown beneath the wheels. The others tried to run, but was hit too. They died instantly. And somehow that wasn't the worst part. The bodies were found mangled.
Wow.
One of their heads had been crushed beyond recognition.
What?
And someone filmed it. Someone always does. And the video made its way through the village. Through whispers and gasps. Through the screens of phones that weren't meant to hold images like that. Anne didn't see the video, but her cousin did. One of the boys had been his best friend. Their families were close. They were really close neighbors. The kind who shared food, watched each other's kids grow up, cried, and laughed over the same kitchen fires. So when the news reached them, it wasn't just grief. It was devastation. The kind of pain that makes people fall to their knees.
That's crazy.
For a while, everyone called it a tragedy, a horrible, senseless accident. But then it happened again. In the months that followed, the village lost more of its children, not just toddlers or infants, but teenagers, kids just starting to find themselves between the ages of 12 and 18. First, it was a drowning, then a fall from a rooftop, then one boy who simply didn't wake up. So by the time March 2017 came around, people had stopped saying accident. They started saying something else.
That's crazy.
Curse. That month, a young woman in the village, just recently married, glowing with that soft, expectant kind of happiness, suddenly complained of sharp pains in her belly. She was due to give birth, but something felt wrong. So her family didn't wait. They took her to a nursing home about an hour away. There, the young woman delivered a healthy baby girl. Everything seemed fine. Nurses smiled, her family breathed a sigh of relief, and the baby, wrapped in a soft cloth, eyes still adjusting to the world, was gently placed in her mother's arms. But 3 hours later, she was gone. No one could explain what happened.
What?
The doctor said it was complications, but complications from what? She had been healthy. There had been no signs of danger. One moment, she was alive and holding her newborn daughter, and the next, just gone. Another life stolen without warning. Another funeral in a village that was starting to forget what peace felt like. The baby lived.
This is based on a true story, bruh? Damn, you putting on for the makeup.
That alone
for the
would have
facial
been
cream.
tragic enough. But it wasn't over. By September that same year, something else happened. Something that hit even closer to home for Anne. She was in the middle of preparing for her school exams that morning. Books open, pencils scattered, her head full of numbers and dates. Her father had gone out for his usual morning walk, like he always did. But when he came back, his face was pale. He looked like someone who had seen something he didn't want to remember. He told them the news. Anne's cousin, the same cousin who had lost his 2 best friends in that horrible truck accident, was dead. He had taken his own life. They found him hanging in his room. No note, no warning, just gone. And Anne couldn't understand it. No one could. He had never seemed sad, never withdrawn. He smiled, joked, even played with the younger kids in the village.
What is going on?
If there had been pain, he had hidden it well. But just a week after his death, another boy, also from the same friend group, tried to kill himself.
Damn.
And that's when people started talking again. The same whispers that had begun after the accident. The same word kept floating through the air. Cursed.
Is this some voodoo?
So were they all
going on?
marked from that first accident? Was something following them? The village, still grieving, barely had time to process what was happening when things took a darker turn. Because then came the killings. And this time, it wasn't accidents.
Bruh.
It wasn't self-inflicted deaths. It was murder inside their own homes by their own family.
Bruh.
It started with one case, a teenager found dead in his bed, his neck bruised and body cold. The person who
Strangled.
called for help was his own uncle. So when asked what happened, the man just kept repeating, I don't remember anything. And then it happened again and again. All teenagers, all killed in the middle of the night
So you
by someone in their
strangling,
own house.
strangling kids, bruh.
And not once did the killer admit a motive. No fights, no history of violence, just a blank space in their memory, like something had taken over them and left nothing behind. Neighbors started locking their doors before sunset. The chatter that once filled the night air was gone. Kids were no longer seen playing under the moonlight. Laughter had completely disappeared. And the village, once full of music, colors, and prayers, turned quiet. It was as if something had crawled in during that first Durga Puja and never left. Something that didn't just want lives, it wanted trust to die too. Because what's scarier than losing someone? Losing the sense that anyone, even your own family, can be trusted.
Oh boy.
Between 2016 and 2018, the village lost more than just its peace. It lost its children. 25 young lives
That's
were
wow,
gone.
bruh.
Some in accidents, others in ways no one could explain. And for a
25.
village that small, the number was unthinkable. It felt like something was claiming them, slowly. And in the middle of all this, Anne got sick. At
Damn.
first, it didn't seem like much. Maybe she had eaten something bad, but days passed and she still couldn't keep anything down. Every meal ended the same way. Her body violently rejecting the food like it was something poisonous. She grew thinner by the week. The lively, cheerful girl people knew started fading into something quiet, pale, and exhausted. Her parents were terrified. They took her to hospitals, good ones. They ran tests, checked everything, blood, stomach, brain, and all of it came back normal, perfect. So doctors were puzzled. They gave her vitamins, medications, told her it might be stress or something psychological, but nothing helped. And Anne just kept wasting away.
That is
She later said it
wild,
felt like her
bruh.
body wasn't hers anymore, like something inside her had flipped a switch, and she was no longer allowed to get better. Then one day in late November, something strange happened.
More?
She was on the terrace,
It's
watering
more?
the plants, trying to keep herself busy even though she didn't have the energy to stand. It was one of those quiet, dusty afternoons where the village felt completely still. As she moved the watering can along the edge, she noticed something odd. A piece of plastic tied tightly around the base of a large tree in the yard. It wasn't something her family had put there. It looked old, like weathered and hidden. Curious, she stepped closer. It was wrapped with string, tucked behind a thick cluster of roots. Carefully, she untied it. Inside the plastic, there was a single sheet of paper, yellowed from the weather, but still intact. What she saw made her chest tighten. The paper had a drawing, like a map, a layout of her house. Every room sketched out in rough ink,
Bruh,
labeled in
what?
writing she didn't recognize.
Bro, that's weird.
And at the center of it, a symbol,
is
something she had
strange.
never seen before. The words were in Urdu, something Anne couldn't read, but she knew just enough to realize it wasn't Hindi, and it wasn't friendly. But she didn't show anyone, not right away. But something about this paper felt dangerous. A few days later, her aunt came over with her cousin. The usual visit, snacks, gossip, catching up. For a moment, things felt normal again. But that's when Anne remembered the paper. So she went to her room, pulled it out of the drawer where she had hidden it, and handed it to her aunt. The moment Anne pulled out the paper, something changed in the air. Her cousin, the 20-year-old daughter of her aunt, noticed it immediately. Her smile dropped. She didn't speak, just stared, eyes wide. She didn't even ask where it came from. She just knew. Without a word, she snatched the paper from Anne's hands, ran out the front door, and disappeared down the path behind the house. Anne and her mother called after her, confused, but she didn't stop. Moments later, she came back, empty-handed. The paper was gone, thrown away, burned, maybe, but no one asked. But when they asked her what she saw, she only shook her head. Her voice was small, and she just said, "Just pray. Don't stop praying." And the next morning, something strange happened. Anne woke up hungry. For the first time in 6 months, she wanted food. She ate a full breakfast. No nausea, no vomiting, no pain. Her body felt light, like a weight had been lifted off her that she didn't even know was there. By noon, she was outside again, laughing. Her color had returned. Her voice was strong.
Somebody
again.
put some voodoo on her.
It was like the sickness had never been there. So word spread fast. The girl who had been sick for half a year, who no doctor could diagnose, who could barely walk, was suddenly fine. No medicine, no surgery, just suddenly fine. So people started coming to her house. Some brought offerings, others just stood outside quietly, staring at her, half in awe, half in fear. Everyone wanted to know what happened. And when the story of the plastic-wrapped paper reached them, something shifted in the village. People began searching, too. They combed through their homes, gardens, rooftops, lifted floorboards, dug behind trees, and what they found sent chills through the entire community. Packages, just like the one Anne had found. Some were tied to tree roots, others stuffed into cracks in walls or wedged behind furniture. All were carefully hidden, meant to be missed. Inside, they found symbols no one recognized, hand-drawn diagrams, words, and unfamiliar scripts. Some said Urdu, others said maybe even Farsi language or Pashto. Objects, too. Animal bones, red strings, bits of hair. And then came the worst part. When Anne's late cousin's family searched the room where he had taken his own life, they found one too, tucked behind a beam in the corner of the room. An identical package, the same kind of paper, the same eerie ink. No one knew how it got there. They swore they'd never seen it before. But there it was, sitting quietly in the room that had once held so much grief.
Set the village
They found more at the homes of other boys who had died, and even in houses where someone was still alive, but suffering, mentally, physically, emotionally, as if something had marked them.
That's crazy.
Some tried researching the symbols. Others brought the packages to spiritual healers, pandits, even priests, but no one could agree on what they were. Some said it was a form of black magic. Others spoke about tabis, amulets, or curses tied to specific people or families. But who would do such a thing? And why? No one ever saw anyone sneaking around the village. No footprints, no broken locks, nothing on the CCTV cameras some homes had recently installed. It was like the packages came out of nowhere, just appeared. To this day, no one knows how they got there or what they truly meant. All that remains is...
That's messed up. that was messed up, bruh. Like, I don't even want to talk about it because I don't mess with it, with none of that stuff. So y'all be careful. Y'all be real, very, very careful. Protect yourselves. If y'all made it through the whole video, shouts out to you. Love y'all. Appreciate the support. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed.
Are you subscribed?
I'll catch y'all in the next one.
Sure. I thought myself no better, you can just keep your love, I'm cool with it. Try to let them in, they backing up, they said can't handle it. Just give me some time, my man is shit. She said she need my heart, so why she down the shit? Yeah. That's how the game slide. Yeah, sitting there for the coupe, that's how the game slide. Yeah, sitting there for the. I got a bad bitch on me, yeah, send the phone. Yeah, send the. Yeah, sitting there for the coupe, that's how the game slide. Yeah, bad bitch on my line, she getting too red beside it. Yeah, pussy function, I got a game beside me. Said I be making her mad, she getting too red like Target. I just can't get my mama off me. Said she want more, I think she lost with me. We can go man for man, we doing that.
Are you so